$17,500 on the line at the Valley. Hearn and Tremont go at it again at the Great Race Place. We take the white flag with a driver in his rookie year in the modifieds. Now there's a legend of announcing right there. John Stanley, you are the man. Race Pro Weekly, yeah, let's go. Welcome to this week's edition of Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. The top race of the 2015 season at the Lebanon Valley Speedway was on the horizon for the Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Let's see who would take it home. $17,500 on the line for the Modifieds, and yeah, that's Rodney. We don't speak of him too much. Anyway, Brett Hearn would lead the field as he drew number one for the 100-lapper at the Lebanon Valley Speedway, and he would be your early race leader, getting out ahead of Billy Decker and bringing it around to complete number one, or so we thought, when a bunch of cars get together. Pat Ward, Colby Schroeder, Gary Tompkins, Jeff Watson, Kenny Tremont, DJ Faulkner, and a lot of other cars up there. Off the restart, cars on the move early. Here's Kyle Armstrong getting by Tyler Dipple as Jimmy Phelps and J.R. Hefner made contact going down the back straightaway. And cars continuing to be on the move as a little bit of contact back and forth. L.J. Lombardo, Danny Johnson in there as well as Chad Jesio bringing it up through the field. But he'd make contact with Elmo Reckner and get shot up on the outside retaining wall, bringing out one of many cautions in the early portion of this event. Off the restart, Stuart Friesen trying to make a move to the inside of the 20 of Hearn for the race lead. Steve Huff with a strong showing, and what a slide job by Tyler Dipple on Lightning Larry White to keep hold of his position as smoke starts to fill the speedway as Kyle Armstrong loses an engine through turn number 3 and 4. A tough break for Armstrong, who was having a good run in the early portion. Off the restart, the battle between Larry White, Jimmy Phelps, and J.R. Hefner will continue as they were beating and banging down the back straightaway. Eddie Marshall trying to make his way up through the field, along with Kenny Tremont, who had to start from the rear of the field due to a crew member working on the car while they were stopped on the front straightaway. Brett Hearn will be leading. Take a look right now as the spot shadow shows a tire coming off of Danny Johnson. Matt Papello nowhere to go as Johnson slows, gets into him, and that would end Papello's night and Johnson's as well. Off of the restart, the battle would continue as Matt Shepard starting to heat up a little bit. He would pull into the top 5 for the first time as Brett Hearn continued to go through lap traffic, where Stuart Friesen following him like a ball hawk in the closing stages. Shepard would get by the one of Dipple off of turn number 3 here as we move with just less than 20 laps to go, as Dipple now would look to get by Billy Decker, who was starting to fade in the late portion of this event. Brett Hearn having some trouble as Steve Huff impedes his progress. That allows Friesen to pull up right in front of him, and then with 2 laps to go, Hearn's out of gas. That allows Friesen to get by, and he would be Mr. Destiny in this one as Friesen grabs his first Mr. Dirt Track USA title. Hearn would end up coming in 9th on the grid when the finish was final.
You know, I knew we could run with him a little bit there, and then traffic, we were good. You know, he was definitely taking it easy through traffic, and we rolled up on him there, and then, you know, all of a sudden he just sputtered and slowed down. My eyes got that big and just tried to keep it straight for the last couple laps.
So Stuart Friesen picking up the victory. Matt Shepard would finish in 2nd. Andy Bacchetti 3rd. Tyler Dipple with a great run coming home 4th. And Kenny Tremont 33rd to 5th in the feature event. At Albany-Saratoga Speedway, Brett Hearn entered the night 39 points behind Kenny Tremont, looking to cut the deficit the best he can before Labor Day weekend made its way in.
Fly home, sweet home.
Dante DePaulo singing God Bless America before the show got started. Did a great job as well, as Mark Keselowski and Elmo Reckner would bring the field to the green for the 35-lap modified feature event up at the Great Race Place, with Keselowski grabbing the early advantage. Rich Galata going to go 3 wide along with Chris Vernald and Rich Ronca. Don Ronca right there, as well as this, of course, the Mike Ronca Memorial event. The 20 of Brett Hearn working it up on the outside. Bobby Varon there as well, as the 19 of Jesse Mueller would get sucked up into the outside wall, bringing out the caution. Off the restart, Mark Johnson going to wind it up to the top side to look to get by Matt DePue and Rich Scalata, but then he would deliver a nasty push through turn number 3 and 4, and that allows the 20 of Hearn to get by, and believe me, Hearn was on the move in this one as Varon and Tremont made contact up in turn number 1 and 2, allowing Tremont to get by. Brett Hearn methodically working his way up through traffic as he go to the inside. Tremont right there on the outside of him as well. Caution will come out for Chris Vernold, who was into the infield. Then off the restart, Brett Hearn trying to go low, makes an uncharacteristic mistake as he tags the left front off the implement tire, and that would end his night and dash his title hopes completely as the front end was shot and Hearn would not make it back out onto the speedway. Off of the restart, Mark Keselowski would reassume control, but here comes Jimmy Cottrell, going to make the move up high as he would look to take the advantage. Here's Elmo Reckner taking low as they almost come 3 wide off the corner, but Cottrell too strong, and he would be your new race leader, getting by Mark Keselowski. Here comes Kenny Tremont looking for win number 7 on the season as he would dig to the inside of Keselowski as caution will come out for Robbie Pitcher. Just about 15 laps to go in this one. The 17 of Elmo Reckner trying to go to the high side to get back by Cottrell for the number 1 spot. He would grab it as now Kenny Tremont goes to work as well, but then Cottrell finds something on the top side once again and tries to deal it right around Reckner for the spot up front. Cottrell would take the spot away as Kenny Tremont would go to work on Elmo Reckner on the inside lane here as you see him go up into turn number 1 and 2. Tremont too strong as he grabbed momentum as Reckner pushed up a little bit, and then it would be the battle for the lead as Tremont, very strong on the inside lane here on this Friday night, will get underneath Cottrell and take the lead away and set his sights on the flag stand for win number 7 of 2015. So Tremont with the win all but locks up the championship going into the final. Jimmy Cottrell will finish in 2nd, Elmo Reckner 3rd, Don Rocca with a strong 4th, and Mark Keselowski would finish in 5th. With the Fonda Speedway going dark for the next couple of weeks due to the Fonda Fair, Pete Demitrazic decided to switch racing nights to Saturday night and kicked it all off with Run With Ya Brung for the Modifieds. Gotta love these Run What Ya Brung races that they bring to the Speedway. We'll start off with some 4-cylinder action as Keith Tessereau Sr. going to go up and over, and, well, he's not the first car to hit an implement tire this weekend. Anyway, we head to the feature event. Sean Pangman and Mark Johnson would take the early advantage in this one as Pangman, with a little bit of a sprint car wing on the top of that, would go to the early race lead. Bobby Varon looking to do what he can to get by Craig Hansen for the number 3 spot in this one. Jimmy Becker sitting in 5th as he tried to roll to the inside of Varon to 4th position off of turn number 4. Mark Johnson, that's a great creation. I think Apples could have been a little more innovative, but either way, you see the 0-0 of Aaron now getting around Hansen, but he's way behind Mark Johnson for the number 2 spot. And speaking of the race leader, Sean Pangman is gone, to say the least, as he drives underneath Bobby Vetter for position on the inside as Mark Johnson trying to do what he can to try to run him down, but Pangman is way too far ahead of him in this one as Sean Pangman, for his 2nd time in 2015, going to grab the victory. Pangman picks up the win. Mark Johnson to finish in 2nd, Bobby Varon 3rd, Craig Hansen 4th, and Jimmy Becker would round out the top 5.
It's now time for this week's Recovery Sports Grill fan poll question. Now that Super Dirt Week will officially end at the New York State Fairgrounds next month, what is your favorite memory from the event? Log on to our Facebook page at facebook.com/RaceProWeekly to cast your answer and let us know what you think. Last week we asked you, which big end of the season races do you like to attend? Lebanon Valley sportsman racer Chris Lynch said, Eastern States Weekend. Donnie Ryder said, the Hurricane 100 at Brewerton and the Outlaw 200 at Fulton. Eric Mulready said, Syracuse, Super Dirt Week. Better make some memories this year. Joe Rouge said, the National Open at Williams Grove. And Jonathan Jones put it plain and simple, all of them. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we travel to Merrittville where the Modifieds were beating and banging for the checkered flag. And we check back in at Lebanon Valley where the points chase is starting to heat up. Don't move. Race Pro Weekly will be right back.
Reputable. Reliable. Results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered.
If you're like me, your to-do list never ends. But with just one phone call, I protect my home, family, pets, and yard all year round. With Northeast Pest Control's Premier Home Protection Program, I don't have to worry about bugs and pests, and I don't have to worry about harsh chemicals either. Now how about that want to-do list? Thanks, Northeast Pest Control.
Ants, termites, mice, or bees, call today for your free estimate.
With Northeast Pest Control, we guarantee you'll live
There's only
pest-free.
one place in the capital region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there. 35 laps the distance up at Merrittville as it would be Bill Bleach and Mark Valerio bringing the field to the green as we go back north of the border. Bleach would take the early race lead as he'd slide his way through turn number 3 and 4 alongside Valerio. As Valerio would look to battle back underneath him, he'd slide up in front and take the race lead away, but here's Bleach making a move back on the outside lane. Bleach would be very strong in the 108 car in the early going of this one, as now Chad Brockman and Tommy Flanagan running side by side trying to make their way up through the field as Brockman trying to make his way home for a championship here in 2015. Mike Coleman would be on the move as he get by Scott Wood as Brockman and McPherson come together. McPherson would go around, but Brockman doing a great job keeping his foot in it as he would keep his position. Off the restart, Mark Valerio trying to make a move to the inside, but again Bleach just too strong on the top side. And now a 3-wide battle for spot number 3 as Tommy Flanagan, Mike Bowman, and Chad Brockman go at it for position. Matt Williamson now going to drive right into the left rear quarter panel of Pete Bicknell, spinning him around. He would be sent to the rear for spinning out the 42 machine, and the old classic stop in front of the flag stand to see if he can get anything done. Didn't work that time. Anyway, back to the racing action. Bill Bleach still trying to hold on the outside. Is now Tommy Flanagan going to make a move to the inside. Here's Mike Bowman going to split him, trying to go 3 wide, but Bill Bleach doing a great job off the cushion, keeping the race lead as they come down the front straightaway once again, and he seemed to be destined to win this feature event. However, Mike Bowman, who has heated up since the month of July got started, continuing to push as Brockman and Billy Dunn now side by side along with Scott Wood on the outside with Eric Rudolph in front of him. Now Bowman would look to make the move to the inside as Bleach trying to come off the moat. He dips it down a little bit on the outside of the corner. Looks to slide right up in front, but that time Bowman too strong as Bleach tries to come back on the inside. But Mike Bowman found the lane he needed on the top, and he would take the race lead away with just a few laps remaining. Eric Rudolph would fight as Dunn and Brockman get by as Bleach gets caught up on the top side behind him. But all behind Mike Bowman as he picks up another win at Merrittville. So Mike Bowman getting it done once again. Tommy Flanagan would finish in second, Eric Rudolph third, Chad Brockman fourth, and Machine Gun Billy Dunn would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Brad Rouse would grab the win in the Sportsman. Open Wheel Lights would go to Jamie Gilbert, Mark Fawcett in the Hoosier Stocks, and the 4 cylinders going to Robert Goulding. Much like Malta, Kenny Tremont came in down 19 points at Lebanon Valley to the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn, and Tremont needed to capitalize strong to have a chance on Labor Day weekend. King of Dirt Pro Stock Race is where we go first with Jay Corbin picking up the win in the 30-lap feature event, which was the final race on the series. Robbie Speed having a little fun. Nick Stone would be crowned the champion. Green flag will come out on the speedway as it would be the 1X of Denny Soltis leading the field to the green with Paul Gilardi bearing down on the inside. They would be side by side through the west end as they bring it around for the first time, and Soltis would be strong, but Gilardi would take the race lead away. Kyle Sheldon and Olden Dwyer and Jeff Watson following as we follow back to the race for the lead. Here's Gilardi going by the 1X of Soltis for position here with just 2 in the books. Great 3-wide battle as you see Eddie Marshall, Kyle Armstrong, and John Rochelle going at it all in front of the Jersey Jet Brett Hearn. Steve Huff and Brian Berger having great runs in the early going just outside the top 5 as they continue to push. As Watson now, that's Jeff Watson, would start to close in on Paul Gilardi for the number 1 spot as he race into the east end here at about the 10-lap mark of the event. Watson gave a strong and clean run to the 87X of Paul Gilardi throughout the majority of this event, but Gilardi very strong on the outside as the caution will come out for Kyle Sheldon with a cut tire. Off the restart, the 87X of Gilardi would reassume control as Kenny Tremont would dive underneath a couple cars and get by him. And then Tremont having to go to the high side, and boy, did he find something up there as he would rim ride around the cushion at the Lebanon Valley Speedway and go right around the 20 of Brett Hearn as he uses Olden Dwyer as a bit of a pick off the corner. And Tremont will be well on his way into the top 5, trying to run down your race leaders. What a side-by-side battle at the front as Watson and Gilardi would continue, but the epic confrontation was behind him as Brett Hearn and Kenny Tremont riding right together. It wouldn't be long before Tremont would get to Watson first on the outside lane. He'd take the number 2 spot away, but he would be forced to switch lanes to try to get by Gilardi as he would run the high side for the majority of the event. Meanwhile, here's Tremont here. He'll make a move to the inside as he kind of snookered him a little bit heading into turn number 3 and 4. He'd slide right up in front of him, and Kenny Tremont would be your new race leader with just a handful of laps remaining. Brett Hearn in the points battle, needing to do what he can to get by Jeff Watson and Paul Gilardi, but he would get them both in this one, ladies and gentlemen. Buddy had nothing to catch the 115 as Kenny Tremont picks up the win. Brett Hearn would finish in the number 2 spot, making it a 15-point battle heading into this Saturday night on the final night. Paul Gilardi would finish in 3rd, Jeff Watson 4th, and Olden Dwyer would round out your top 5. Other winners on the night, Frank Harper would grab the win in the small blocks. Pro Stocks would go to Jay Corbin, as you saw before. 4-cylinder single cam to Brandon Ely, dual cam to Todd Goldstein. Pure Stock 1, 2, and 3 would go to Larry Perez, Jeff Meltz Jr., and Jason Meltz. And the Boomers Performance Classic would go to Big Ed Hatch. Street stock action from the Great Race Place, but first we go to the Sportsman with a wreck early in the event, collecting your point leader in the Sportsman, Derek McGrew, in an event that Jeremy Pitts would go on to win. Meanwhile, we kick it off now with the Street Stock feature event, as it would be John Morris Jr. leading the grid, with Randy Miller trying to pick up another star-studded win in the Street Stock division, as Jim Cutler and Crazy Curtis Condon going to be right there with David Cook running for position, as Billy Dupree going to split both of them heading down the back straightaway, not going to work on Cook on the outside, as the Lime Green Machine, the 2-time champion, trying to make something happen. He would power to the outside that time, and Billy Dupree would be your new race leader. Josh Coonrad and Randy Miller also making their way up into the top 5 very early in this event at just about the 1/4 mark, as Miller already up into the number 2 spot in this one, and Coonrad in 3rd. Coonrad would battle to the inside of the 12 of Randy Miller up at turn number 4, as Coonrad would take the number 2 spot away, with Miller trying to fight back on the right side of him. That's the outside for those of you scoring at home. The 01 of Frank Monroe doing a great job as well. Joey Wilson in there, and then something would go on the 00 of Coonrad's car, and that would be a right rear tire. Completely shredded, to say the least. Off the restart, they come to the white flag as cars get together down the front stretch. David Cook, Joey Wilson, and Curtis Condon come together with a little bit of debris in front of them as Miller tries to chase down Dupree but couldn't get him, as Billy Dupree gets win number 4 on the season. Billy Dupree picks up the win. Randy Miller would finish in 2nd, Nathan DeHota 3rd, Frank Monroe 4th, and Matt Mosier would finish in 5th. Jeremy Pitts would win the Sportsman, Limited Sportsman for the first time to Zach Del Rio. First career win in the Pro Stocks to Walt Brownell, and Adam Pearson grabbing the win in the DMA USAC Midgets.
When we come back, we go to a new racetrack for Race Pro Weekly, Humberstone, for the Pete Cosco Memorial, and we visit the Valley in Glen Ridge again for some action you won't want to miss. It's all coming up on Race Pro Weekly.
Some of the music you've heard on Race Pro Weekly this week is by A.J. Jansen, Country's Rebel Rose, bringing you a mixture of high-energy rock and sultry country roots. To hear more and for your free download, check out ajjansenmusic.com.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Performance, quality, service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts, competitive prices, That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly as we go to the new Humberstone Speedway for the Pete Cosco Memorial as Billy Bleach and the 15 of Tim Jones would lead the field to the green in this feature event, and Brad Rouse wasting no time moving into the number 2 spot as he would try to go by the 15 of Jones on the inside lane. Matt Williamson not wasting any time either in that number 6 car as he dives to the inside lane as Jones gets caught up on the cushion just a little bit. Mike Bowman and Tyler McPherson looking to make their way down the back straightaway as McPherson tries to ride the cushion through turn number 3 and 4 for position as Williamson and Rudolph start to duke it out as they head down the backstretch with Williamson taking the advantage down into turn number 3 and 4. Meanwhile, new race leader as Brad Rouse goes on the outside lane. He will get by Bill Bleach for the number 1 spot in heavy lap traffic and then slide in front of him in a great move by Rouse. But as lap traffic starts to thicken, Bill Bleach goes right underneath him and takes the race lead back on the inside lane. Now Rouse could get caught up to the top side. That's going to allow Eric Rudolph to dive underneath and take the number 2 spot away as he sets his sights on race leader Bill Bleach as he'll now come off at turn number 3 and 4 on the high side. They'll bang wheels a little bit off the corner as what a great race this was, and we're not even halfway yet. Meanwhile, Rudolph will slide in front for the race lead as Rouse and CB3 on the move as here comes Champ Brockman on the top side looking to make something happen. Williamson right there as well as Rouse ducks underneath and gets by some lap traffic, but that's going to allow Williamson to keep the clean lane on the outside and keep control of that number 3 spot. Matt Williamson trying to chase down Billy Bleach now for the number 2 spot as they'll make their way through turn number 3 and 4 as Williamson breaks it up and will dive on the outside. He'll take that spot away. Bleach trying to battle back, but the caution will come out on the speedway, which would slow everything down. And then the battle would rage on between two of the young guns here in the 358 modifieds as Matt Williamson would go to the race lead, but Eric Rudolph would battle back on the inside. Side by side they ride off at turn number 4 in the closing stages as Williamson that time drifts too high. That allows Rudolph to keep the momentum on the inside and take the spot away. Eric Rudolph would dive back in front of him off at turn number 4 and Rudolph reclaims the top spot. Pete Bicknell trying to knock on the door of the top 5 to get by Tommy Flanagan, but this is all behind Eric Rudolph who wins the inaugural Pete Cosco Memorial. Eric Rudolph picking up the win. Matt Williamson would finish in 2nd, Champ Brockman 3rd, Mark Delario 4th, and Tommy Flanagan would finish in 5th. The King of Dirt Series making its first of 2 trips out to the high banks in the 2015 season as Chris Curtis getting ready to go. Feature would see the 14 of Scott Duell, that's in Roman numerals if you're wondering what's on the outside of it. In the 30-lap feature event, making its way up into the lead in the early portion, here's Michael Sabia going to the inside of Alyssa Cody for the number 3 spot. He'd take that away. David Schilling running there with Tim Hartman Jr. and Frank Horde Jr., along with John Virgilio, Kevin Arnold, and Whitey Slavin trying to make their way up through the field. Chris Curtis doing his best to get up there as well in the early going, but the battle will rage on between Matt Papa and the 14 of Scott Duell up front in the early going of the event. Whitey Slavin right there along with John Virgilio and David Schilling looking to fight up through the field as Sabia would get by Papa on the outside just at the 1/3 mark of this feature event as Sabia was going to the front as the caution will come out for the 00 of Jason Gray up on the inside of turn number 2. Off the restart, Michael Sabia drag races down and takes the lead on the inside. Duell going to try to cover back to him on the inside lane, but couldn't do it, and now Virgilio gets caught up by, along with Whitey Slavin, who goes on the outside retaining wall. A couple cars come together trying to avoid him, but we stay under green. Chris Curtis would fight to the inside now, and Scott Duell will take the number 2 spot away as Ricky Davis lurks right behind him as they head down the backstretch. Allison Ricky in her first appearance at the High Banks doing a great job as she'd move to the inside of Rocky Warner and Cody Blue for position down the backstretch, but Michael Sabia wouldn't be touched as he picks up the first King of Dirt Sportsman Series win at the Valley. Sabia with the win. Chris Curtis would finish in 2nd, Scott Duell 3rd, John Virgilio 4th, and Ricky Davis will be 5th. Midgets will be on hand as one of the support divisions to the Run What You Brung show, as right away it would be the 69 of Dean Christensen taking the early advantage in this 20-lap feature event. Bobby Varon in the show in this one in the number 7 machine looking to make his way up through the field as Christensen would see pressure from Kenny Johnson in the early portion of this one. Great battle for the number 3 spot as Frank Malik right there along with Johnson and the 7 of Aaron as Varon doing a great job sliding up into the number 3 spot as Johnson would take the lead in the 46 car as we continue to move through this feature event. Now Frank Malik trying to make a bid up there as well, but Bobby Varon going to try to follow Johnson and Christensen up through the rest of the field here as we head towards the closing stages of this one. You see Christensen go right back under Johnson for the race lead as they bring it off at turn number 4. Johnson powers back on the outside, but Christensen just too strong, and while they're racing, that's going to allow the 7 of Varon to start to close in as they head down the back straightaway. Varon will work on Johnson for the number 2 spot using that inside lane. He'd slide up in front of him and take that spot away and now set his sights on your race leader, Dean Christensen, as with just 3 laps to go, Varon going to make the blast pass on the inside, and he would be your new race leader as they come off the turn number 2. Bobby Varon would go on to pick up the victory. So Bobby Varon with the win. Second will be Dean Christensen. Third, Kenny Johnson. Fourth, Frank Malik. And rounding out your top 5 was Andy Burrows. Other winners on the night in the Sportsman, it would be the Flying Squirrel Rocky Warner. The Cruisers would go to Pat McSpirit. Vintage Modified would go to Daryl Holbert. Vintage Sportsman to Buck Gasner. And Link Pettit with the win in the Vintage Dash.
It's now time for this week's Berkshire County Network Driver Spotlight with 2014 Orange County Sportsman Champion and current Big Block Modified rookie, LJ Lombardo. Race Pro Weekly is brought to you by Bob Hilbert Sportswear, Racing Electronics, Emmerich Associates, Tranquil Touch Healing, New England Racing Fuels and Sunoco Fuels. Coming up, Fast Eddie goes one-on-one with a young driver who's gaining experience at several different tracks this year. And we hand out our NISCA Performer of the Week. Race Pro Weekly will be right back.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man, Tom, and my other main man, Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
The Choices 301 program takes a multifaceted approach aimed at educating the public about the realities and dangers of what can happen when bad decisions are made inside a motor vehicle. Don't hesitate to designate. Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Last season, at the end of the year, Jesse Mueller made the decision to switch to the dirt from the asphalt, getting a few races started at the Fonda Speedway. Our own Fast Eddie caught up with Mueller on how his rookie year has been going.
Jesse, you started showing up back here at the dirt tracks the end of last season. What made you decide to make the switch from pavement to dirt?
We won 11 races last year, and we were just ready for another challenge, and we love challenges, and we've always wanted to go dirt racing, but business is good and we can afford it, so we bought a couple big blocks, and we went down to T.O. and bought some cars, and we came dirt racing.
This year has been a challenge, to say the least. You've been upside down a couple of times. What's that like in a car getting upside down, and how frustrating is that?
I tell you, it's pretty frustrating when you work on a car all week and you go there and just something stupid happens and you end up totaling the car. But it's not a good feeling, I can tell you that. It don't scare me and it don't slow me down. Just hope they say every third is a charm, so hopefully it's the end of it.
What has been the biggest difference between the dirt and the asphalt?
Adjusting to the track and racing with people side by side, and watching the track as the night goes on and the track slicking and off. It's a different animal, but we're starting to get the hang of it. Ready to get this first year under my belt and gear up for next year.
I see Jimmy Davis over here at the car talking to you tonight. Other than Jimmy Davis, who else has been helping you out here getting used to the dirt?
Well, Jimmy Davis, he's been a help here in the past few weeks, and Stuart Friesen is the one that really got me going. Me and him are good friends, and he helped me out. They hooked me up with T.O. and Matt Hearn and Brett Hearn. They're all good guys, and they've really helped me out a lot. And I feel like we're getting faster. We've won a few heat races, and We had a top 5 at Fonda a couple weeks ago. We just need to hang in there and just get some luck on our side and go win some races.
Who do you need to thank this season?
I really got to thank my parents and my dad for everything they do, and my sponsors and TO Pro Car. They really have helped me out, and big thanks to Stuart Friesen for getting me going. I didn't know anything about it, so that's where we're at.
It's now time for this week's NISCA Performer of the Week, and with the win of the inaugural Pete Cosco Memorial, it goes to young gun Eric Rudolph. Rudolph is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Amber Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.